Peace, 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 mine ascension. Peace to my 6 to 22 strands, 7 to 9 ether, selenium, you melanin based black gods of this planet. I'm in the elements. Backyard building. I think I might have to call this that. Backyard building number 3. I'm with my brother off the side. He's Amun right now. He's the hidden. He's the hidden one right now. But brother just came across and we started building a little bit. I told him, I say, listen, let's make a recording. Because anytime I get around brothers with like minds, anytime I get around brothers with intelligent questions and just who happen to exchange that proper energy and create that balance, I feel it's necessary and I feel an obligation that I have to put this into the archives, add this to the channel for y'all, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not big on making things by myself, because I'm just not like these modern YouTuber people that can just talk by themselves directly into things. I need something to spark, activate, and provoke that thought process, especially when it's coming from a perspective that I normally don't think on. And I know y'all have different ways of thinking that me personally, I might not tap into something, being that I'm not thinking about that at the time. But anyway, I don't know if you had anything specific or you want to expand from what we were just saying a second ago or whatever it might be. But let's roll. Let's let it flow. Let's let it do what it's supposed to do. You know.
Well, one of the things that come to mind at the moment is just that um, I see us at war, you know, um, and
Now, when you say at war with who or war? What perspective do you speak of when you say war? Because it's a good thing you talked about that, because I hear a lot of people talking about either race war or this war or that war, and I want to specify the fact that, okay, go on.
okay, so the war is mainly for our minds, right? So it's
Okay.
like I think about like like women, mainly like or specifically the black women, and how she she has been kind of like a burden.
Mm.
um and it's then that's one piece, and then the other piece is like the fact that we are not properly um being fed,
Mm-hmm.
you know both internally via food, or even the things that we hear and the things that we see. So these things are constantly in our faces, pulling us away from finding ourselves and building and tapping into what we can tap into.
Okay.
So
So when you say when you say the word war, use the term war, you're using it from the perspective of someone from another side is implicating or projecting or creating an environment conducive to the black woman becoming a burden, us not receiving the proper care, the proper sustenance from either food or
conversation, or
visual,
yeah,
verbal, so on and so forth.
yes.
Okay, okay. Now, the first thing I definitely want to get onto is the term that you used of the black woman being a burden today, because I definitely understand where it comes from and what the perspective really is, and how that conclusion came to be. I like to think of it as she's basically being used as a tool and as a weapon today. She's being used as an ultimate weapon against the entire generation and race of us as a people, number one. And now, because when we say burdens are like things that you kind of like have to deal with, and it's like it's slowing you down or whatever. I don't think the black woman is slowing us down. She's creating an entire generation of slowed down people.
Well,
It's a
yeah.
huge difference. It's a huge difference. See, the black man can be a burden because him as an individual being, he does things, provokes things, initiates things that can be an obstacle within the way of the progression of a people or of an individual. The black woman is on another level because she actually creates and gives birth to the mindset that begins to sustain or begins to expand the generation based on the environment the black woman is in. because she is absorbent. She follows the trend. She absorbs the environment she's in. She becomes where she's placed. So if I take any black woman and I place her in an environment full of pain, full of struggle, full of this, full of that, that's the generations of cycles that she will begin to create. But the man is different. Now, by the way, we're relating that to water, because water can be placed in any container or environment and absorb the contaminants of that container or environment, or absorb the nutrients of that container and environment. Fire, which is the element of man, is very different, because you can't place fire in anything without it destroying or changing the molecular or chemical structure and compound of wherever it's being placed. So when I take a man and I put him in a certain situation, he looks around, he says, yo, hold up, this shit is fucked up. And he either starts warring with the superior of that environment, or he destroys something in it that changes the consequences and the results due to that action. Now, sometimes it's for the worse. Sometimes it's for the better, but the fact is, he brings change. He doesn't sustain it. Like, if you notice, a woman will sustain a bad relationship with an abusive man. A man might take a good woman and make her fucked up, make her into a drug addict, make her into a prostitute, but he still changed her. Then you got another man who will take a woman who is an alcoholic, who is a drug addict, and he will change her into a vegan, into a holistic person, into a namaste spiritual person. He still changed her. So what you're referring to when you talk about the black woman, I agree with you. I just choose to use a different term, because she is being used as the ultimate weapon. This recessive, or this elite group of creatures and people, I don't want to call them beings, but they have already mastered and understood that the feminine is the superior aspect of creation. And because the feminine is part of creation, the feminine is also part of sustaining. Because anything that is a creator, to a certain extent, wants to sustain what it creates. And see, this is why a lot of times, I know you don't have IG, but a lot of times y'all will hear me say the black woman is God, the black woman is God. Now, when I say that, I don't mean walking on the water, wine into water to wine type of bullshit. What I mean is, not only is she a creator, but her own natural nature and design forces her to sustain whatever she creates. She can give birth to the devil. Guess what she's gonna do? She's gonna feed the devil. She gonna rock the devil to sleep. She gonna kiss the devil. She gonna breastfeed the devil. She gonna sustain the devil. She could create an angel. She gonna sustain an angel. She can't help that, because she's designed to sustain whatever she creates. If she has a child that has Down syndrome or deformity or whatever, she's gonna love that child just the same as the child that comes out a multi-genius. See, in our ancient cultures and indigenous cultures, the men of those cultures understood, when you bred a child with a deformity or a form of mutation, we had to immediately eliminate that child, because that child can infect the entire village. And then deformity becomes a normality. Just like today sickness is a normality. Today we'll tell a child that they can slice their penis open, turn it inside out, stick it up their pelvis, and call it a vagina. And that is pushed as normal today. If I say that that's abnormal, I might get arrested for hate speech. I might get a summons. I might get a ticket. You see what I'm saying? This is what's being conditioned as normal. But normal and natural are two different things. Normal is just something that is a consistency created into a commonality. So if I wake up every day and I smack you across the face every single day, and you turn 15 years old, and I've been doing that since birth, that's normal to you. So the one day you don't get smacked, you feel weird. You feel out of place. Another person gets a kiss on the cheek every single day. That's normal to them. So the day that they don't receive that love and affection, they feel out of place. They feel weird. But neither one of those things are per se natural. They're only normal based on the consistency that made them common to you as an individual. And just like they're making things common to us as a group of people, as a generation. If I talk to a boy right now who's between the ages of 15 and 20, he doesn't know anything before the year 2000. So therefore, it's funny, because in my DM not too long ago, I had a young brother ask me, like, what is this two-parent thing you're talking about? Like, what I did a post breaking down that we are the only race that seems to be grandparents in our 30s and great-grandparents in our 40s. And I broke down the fact that there's no such thing as grandma and grandpa's house anymore. Like, now we just go to grandma's house, or we're going to grandma's apartment, really, let's be honest. But there's no such thing as going to grandma's and grandpa's house anymore. So he was confused about that because as a 17-year-old boy, he didn't even realize that at one time all of us had two-family homes, all of us had homes and houses, and all of us lived in neighborhoods. No matter how black the neighborhood was, it wasn't a ghetto. And some of us can't fathom that because we still are not aware that that actually existed because we came up in the 2000s. And we have children that's coming up 16, 17, 18, 19 that have no concept of a two-parent home, that have no concept of the balance between the feminine and masculine as in roles, as in parentage. They have no balance. They have no concept of that. So therefore, they have to be introduced to that. And it threw me off because in my warped mind that's not looking through the eyes of a 17-year-old, I think everybody should know this, that man and woman go together, father and mother raise a child. I think that should be a common knowledge. But once again, what's common? Common is what has been consistently seen and done. Today, are we consistently seeing that being done and being seen amongst black people? No. So therefore, since it's not common, it's not normal, you know. But the black woman is being used as a weapon because, number one, she is the creatress of our current existence, and she fashions the human being's body as well as the mind within her body for those 9 months. Everything she thinks, feels, eats, how she sleeps, the noises she hears, the hugs she receives, the hugs she doesn't receive, the man who created the life with her that's there, the man who's not there. All of these things have to be taken into consideration, that fashion, that being within her, and create the mind that will be the individual after she gives birth to it. So when she's bombarded with Love and Hip Hop, when she's bombarded with Atlanta Housewives, when she's bombarded with soap operas and all of these different entities of social media and certain entertainments that are visualizations, which are combinations of symbols that do not necessarily project the natural order of existence and of human life, then guess what? She begins to absorb those things, harbor those things, and while she's holding that child within her womb, that child becomes what she thinks and what she feels. And next thing you know, she gives birth to a disabled, to a distorted, and to a rearranged generation who doesn't know the difference between male and female, who doesn't know the difference between right or wrong, who has no integrity, who has no righteousness, who has no morals, to where the boys could be 15, stick their hand out to you and not even offer any type of entertainment to receive that change, or any type of washing of a window, or any type of laborious aspect to earn what they're asking for. I remember at one time, even when you saw people begging, they begged with some reason. They begged with some form of exchange to earn whatever piece of change you gave them. Now that's all gone. I don't see that at all. So once again, it starts with the feminine mind. The feminine body brings forth as a portal and as a conduit and bridge between the spiritual and physical world, the current state of the individual being that makes up the collective of the population that we see today. The individual being or boy today that we see that can't tell the difference between feminine and masculine, so he walks around with extensions, colorful hair, he paints his nails, he wears dresses for fun, he does all these things, but yet he still possesses the high accumulation of testosterone and the combination of his ego. So he'll shoot a female from the Eastern Parkway Parade because she didn't dance with him. At one time, no man would ever do that, no matter how thuggish or how, ignorant he was. He would just be, all right, whatever, fuck you, bitch, and keep walking. Now it's on another level where now when he's rejected by a woman, he actually murders her. He actually does unspeakable things to her immediately, because the combination of his testosterone and then the combination of his overuse of his right brain, which is emotion, which is not his design, it's not his makeup. He's left brain as a man, as a boy, as a male. But today he's so mixed up and combobulated, he's overusing his right brain, overusing his testosterone, and overusing his ego, all combined in one, which gets you a cross-dressing, shoot 'em up, fuck all bitches, but I'm gonna fuck all the bitches type of mindset and type of male that we see today. So, when you breed this type of individual, and you create a society where this shit is accepted and this shit is embraced, and be anything you want, love everything you want, do anything you want, which is the most ridiculous, most retarded shit in the world. And by the way, the fact that we know that we're in a feminine controlled society is that everything is accepted and not accepted simultaneously, which is contradictions on top of contradictions. What I mean by that: say anything you want, be anything you want, just don't say shit I don't like or it's hate speech. Contradictive. Do anything you want, be anything you want, just don't touch my kids or just don't disrespect me as a woman. Contradictive. You can't say be anything. You can't say anything. You can't say love everything and then stop and put a limitation on what you're going to accept or what you're going to love based on what you like or dislike. You can't say I have to accept you as a woman even though you were born a male, and then turn around and tell me what your preference is, but did not respect my preference to not date a man who's imitating a woman. It's contradictive. Everything that's being said today is contradictions upon contradictions. And it's just a proof that we are being controlled by a feminine concept and feminine mind, because the feminine energy is chaotic. It's all directions at one time. She wants to wear the skirt, but then she wants to wear the pants at the same time. She wants to wear the heels, then she wants to put on the Jordans at the same time. She wants to run shit, but then she gets tired of making all the choices and making all the decisions. It's a contradiction. That's why the man is designed as order. He's designed as alignment, because since he needs so little, since he cares so less, he could go, wait a second, babe, it's cold, put the jeans on, not the skirt. Bam, problem solved. He doesn't overthink anything based on how he feels and based on his emotional state within the moment that he's in. And this is what makes him the perfect tool. Woman's not here to be a tool. A man is a compass given direction, a shield given protection, a sword given defense. He is the ultimate tool placed here to be utilized by women and children. Today, the woman has been made into a weapon against all of her creation. So that's what we see in today as a problem. Oh, love everybody, accept everything, love this, love that. But as soon as something bothers you as an individual woman, stop. Don't do that. I don't like that. Wait a second, I thought you said love everything, love everybody. So I love to rape. Let's go on a raping spree. Wait a second, I said you love everything, love everybody. You want to be a transgender? I want to be Barney the dinosaur. Let me go into a surgery where you can turn my hands into hooves and turn my head into a horn and all this. I'm like, it's like, where is the line drawn? Where does the order come in? Because if you can be anything, say anything, and do anything, then what is the point of existence and creation? And what is the point of establishing hierarchies in the work world and hierarchies in socialism and all? What is the point of what's the point of moralism? What's the point of having morals? Because morals is a form of order. Morals is what tells me not to speak foul language in front of the elder. But wait a second. Say everything and do everything. So now I say, oh, fuck all that shit. Look at this stink old bitch and da-da-da. But wait a second. What makes that wrong? Because what dictates wrong or right is order. What dictates wrong or right is alignment. What dictates wrong or right is discipline. What dictates wrong or right is morality. And you can't have none of these things without having limitations, without having something to say, whoa, hold up. Now, if you feel like you can be this or that, that's fine. But where you stop is teaching a child that they can mutilate their body because they feel like it one day. That's where we're going to stop that. But nobody's doing that today. And then when we come across news and when we come across situations where people are being abused, attacked, mutilated, where people are committing suicide because they chose a gender at the wrong time, where they understood what that meant for their life, and now they're an adult and they can't reverse it, so instead they choose suicide, which is all over. They're just not talking about it, because so many trans people commit suicide, but it's not being talked about because they don't want to promote that being trans is a problem. The same way that there's dykes who are pushing themselves on women, committing sexual assaults on women, doing all type of things with getting drunk with women, but that's not reported as sexual assault because it's another female on another female. And I know this personally, that there's a lot of aggressive dykes out there who push themselves on women, but it never gets reported. But as a man, if I dare push myself on a woman, it's all over the news in 5 minutes. I'm a rapist. But yet the woman, the dyke at the party who went down on your best friend who was drunk that night, she's not a rapist? She didn't commit sexual assault. Why is that not everywhere? Because that shit happens all the time. All the time. But we don't hear about it because it will give a negative light on LGBT. And we don't want to do that. There's a lot of homosexuals who push themselves on other homosexuals or other men who are not homosexual. But it never gets talked about because nobody wants to put any speckle of a dim or negativity on LGBT, XYZ, whatever the fuck they think they are or whatever the fuck they want to call themselves. Nobody dares. Just think about that. I've never heard nothing negative about these people or these groups or anything. You mean to tell me that there's not one situation of sexual assault between a dyke and another girl who does not want to be a lesbian? You mean to tell me that there's not one instance of sexual assault between a homosexual man and a young, not a young boy as in preteen, but another young man who might be, let's say, at a homosexual club and he doesn't want to dance with the gay guy and the gay guy keeps pushing himself? You mean to tell me this shit don't exist at all? Of course it exists. But it's never being reported, it's never being talked about because they want to keep that notion that all negative. I even heard a woman tell me this one time. I couldn't believe this shit. And then she got mad at me. And, oh, well, all atrocities and all abuse and negative assaults are done by heterosexuals. I was blown away. You must never heard of Pizzagate. You must never heard on all the homosexual rings that trade children all over the world. The hell are you talking about? It's because the media pushes heterosexual men as rapists, abusers, violent, so on and so forth, but yet nothing is ever seen in any way, shape, or light at all of any dyke, lesbian, or homosexual doing anything. And as a matter of fact, here's the perfect example. I don't know if you saw this, but Genuine, who is an artist, you know who Genuine is, right? Genuine, for some of y'all who's too young, because Genuine has not been in light in a long time, has not made nothing that I know of. Genuine is an R&B artist from the 90s, and he was a big-time sex symbol for women. Women loved the hell out of him. You know, he's considered to be a very attractive man, so on and so forth. Now, the point I'm making is, some time ago, I believe it's 2 or 3 years ago, he appeared on a European show. I forget what country it was in Europe, but he appeared in a European show where it was some type of transgender show. I don't know what the hell he was doing here, but that's beside the point. He was sitting on a couch next to other transsexuals, comfortable. He was having dialogue and conversation. He wasn't, you know, rejecting or anything. He was talking to them like a person. Long story short, one of the transsexuals talks about secure men who are secure in their sexuality and who understand that transsexuals are real women and have no problem dating transsexuals because they're straight, secure men and they know that transsexuals are real women. At that time, the tranny looks at Genuine and goes, well, I know Genuine is secure within himself and I know he understands that transsexuals are real women. As this thing is saying that, it leans over to Genuine and tries to kiss Genuine. Genuine pulls back like, whoa, what are you doing? The whole crowd boos him. And after that, he is deemed transphobic. Now, here's my point. What do you call a man who forces himself on a woman who has not gave him permission to kiss her or touch her? What's that label? What's that called? What's the name for that? If I'm with a woman and she has not gave me permission to kiss her or touch her, but yet without asking permission and without waiting for her to invite me, I lean over to kiss her or touch her. What is that called? Sexual assault. It's called assault. Anybody that touches you without your permission and without you inviting them is called assault. Anybody that tries to touch you sexually or intimately is called sexual assault. But why was he deemed transphobic, but the tranny was not deemed sexual assaulter? It's on tape that she was trying to kiss a man who never gave her permission to do so, who told her to stop. He put his hands out. He said, no, what are you doing? He stopped her. But yet he turned into the transphobic who was demonized for not wanting another goddamn mutilated man to kiss him. This is the point I'm making. The point I'm making is no one is reporting the definition of assault or sexual assault by anybody but heterosexual men. If you're a heterosexual man and you sneeze the wrong way towards a woman, sexual assault. You try to dance on her, sexual assault, she doesn't want it. Meanwhile, I just saw a video of women on Eastern Parkway who's grinding against police officers who are minding their business. I didn't hear the police officer say, hey, come over here and grind your genitals against mine. Didn't hear it. I just see them go right up to police officers, don't dialogue, don't talk, bend over in front of them and grind their ass on the police officer's genitals. Isn't that sexual assault? But why is sexual assault, rape, all of these different things only connected to the heterosexual man? Or even specifically the black heterosexual man? See, we're in a time frame where everything is accepted that has nothing to do with change. Basically, they're saying today, and they're teaching us today, accept every form of sickness, every form of abnormality, as long as you don't try to change it. And this is why the heterosexual man is demonized and destroyed, because the heterosexual man is change. His nature is change. Whether he's building a new structure, whether he's destroying a system or a structure, whether he's introducing a new thinking or ideology, either way, we're talking about change. So today, they'll accept anything. Let everybody do this. Let everybody love this. Let everybody like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't tell me what the logical perspective of that is. Don't try to change me. And that's the thing that's being demonized, and that's the thing that's being suppressed today, is the masculine man's nature and design to stop abnormal shit, to destroy destructive and infectious shit, and to introduce a new level of thinking that can change the mentality of the generation that he's in. That's making sure, they are making sure they suppress that and that doesn't happen. And the black woman, as my brother has said over here, is helping to sustain that today. The black female. I'll have to change that from woman to female. The black female is helping, assisting the suppression of the masculine heterosexual black male and the sustaining of the sickness of the European-minded recessive lifestyle and behavior due to glandular dysfunction of this white man introducing his culture as a normality into our existence today. Because no one can show me any depiction, papyrus, pottery, sculpture in the interior of Africa, around Africa, outside of Africa that's not European, showing another man fucking another man up the ass or another man trying to fuck a child. You can't show me it. You can tell me it's been around forever, but you can't show me the archaeological or the historical proof of this. You cannot show me. You can't. But you keep on believing to justify your participation in sickness. And that's exactly what they want. To this very day, you will die in certain parts of Africa just for being a homosexual. To this very day. And we're still talking about colonized people because they still waiting for Jesus. Even in Jamaica. So it's like, what are you talking about? You know, but I didn't even really want to, it wasn't my intention to make this.
Jail is like this holding facility for the changers.
I like how you said that. Yes, what my brother just said is jail in the incarceration or prison system is almost like a holding center for the people who have the potential to change shit. That's what we're talking about. So the masculine man who refuses to compromise his manhood or his morality for anything that's current within this society, he must be demonized, destroyed, or incarcerated. See, the nature of a man is never to compromise with anything that is against his manhood or against his morality. Now, when you deal with the feminine technically is multidirectional, is chaotic, and is everything at one time. So she will accept all types of nonsense and have a form of justification utilizing her emotions. See, if you notice, any movement they want to implement on a society, the first thing they do is trigger the female's emotions. You can't, gender knows no love. Age knows no love. You can't, color knows no love. You can't help who you love. Love, 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 love. What happened to intelligence? What happened to the logical perspective of the anatomical structure of two beings who come together to create life based on the design of nature herself? What happened to that? Why are we dismissing everything to talk about love, which is an arbitrary word? Because I can love to rape. Did I use the word wrong? When I say I love to rape, did I use that word wrong? No, I didn't. Because love is an arbitrary word. If I say it's righteous to rape, did I use the word wrong? And so saying that rape is righteous, that I used righteous the right way? If I say rape is righteous, am I using the word righteous correctly? Hope y'all understand what righteous means. If you look up the word righteous and read what it means, I cannot say rape is righteous because that goes against the definition of righteous. But if you look up the word love, it's just a fucking feeling. I could love to eat dirt. I could love to rape. I could love to beat people up. I could love to stab and cut myself. There's people out there that have a cut fixation and they slice themselves and they love how it feels. Are they using the word wrong? No. This is why they use that word all the time. Because if I incorporate love into anything I want to introduce to you, you get an emotional attachment to it. And then it becomes justified within your right brain dominated mind. This is why they can't play that shit with men. A logical left brain heterosexual masculine man cannot be fooled by the word love. Because he doesn't give a shit about whether you love something or not. He gives a shit whether it's right. He gives a shit whether it makes sense. He gives a shit whether it's righteous. He gives a shit whether it follows morality. He gives a shit whether he can benefit from it. He gives a shit, he looks down the line whether his child will be bothered from it, whether his woman will be unprotected under it. He doesn't think about how it feels. The fuck? I don't give a shit about that. I want to make sure the shit works. So how does me sticking my penis in another man's anus work for all of us as humanity? How does that work? Where's the benefits? Bottom line, man, I think this thing stopped and redid again because sometimes the galaxy does that. But it's alright, because I'll just put the part 2 as short. But the brother started off talking about the black woman as a burden. I agree where he was coming from, and I just wanted to change the term because she's being used as a weapon today. Her heart, her right brain dominance, her emotional state, her sustenance and sustaining, her creatress factor is being used against us as a people today. The fact that no matter what they do, they can never change or stop the fact that all life is breeded within her womb alone. No matter what they do, they cannot change or stop the fact that every child that comes from her womb is fashioned not only from the flesh of her body, the vitamins of her body, the minerals of her body, the electromagnetic field of her body, but also the mindset she's in at the time that she is incubating that child. So if she is in a mindset of the time of accept everything, homosexuality is great, synthetic medicine is awesome,